Mr. Chigozie Obani is a security consultant. He joins us next here today on the program. Thank you for coming on today.
Thank you for having me.
Well, this is one scenario that many just don't want to see. This. They talked about how they saw the scenario as it had to do with Boko Haram. The handling of that was not exactly good initially. It turns out the way it eventually did. And they now question, on that premise, the way this is happening. What's your impression of what is going on?
Yeah. First of all, I must make it clear that I am not a member of IPOB. That is indigenous people agitating for Biafra. I am not a member of MASOB. I am an Igbo man. Nobody can take that away from me. I will say a few things that may not please the authorities, and I will defend this at any point. Our handling of these issues does not in any way reflect a government that has privilege, has adequate information. In fact, I would say that our handling shows that there is a flawed intelligence gathering. This thing, of course, played out. Something similar played out during the Boko Haram challenge at inception. And we went in there, gathered a few people by the same police, killed, and it escalated. What is wrong with the Nigerian police through its intelligence arm? Staying a little longer in those environments, getting to find out why people are agitating 46 years after having lost a war. Why are people raising arms against the state in other parts of the country? So that we will adequately focus our energy on who the common enemies are. But somehow we are shielding them. They are milking the state dry. We are making noise about anti-corruption and prosecution. The same people are being protected by security agencies and arms of the state. And they are using this same money to deal with us in this manner.
Which are the people that are being prosecuted?
You see, when you look at the discussion and the way it's being directed, almost everybody now is looking at the federal government and the flaws of the federal government. By the time you want to redirect the discussion to the states, they become paranoid. What has happened to resources allocated to different states of this country, especially in the southeast, in the last 16 years? Why has every past governor of any state in the southeast become billionaires, whereas the states cannot pay salaries? Is there anything wrong with us to see the nexus, this complicated relationship between misapplication of policies, squandering of resources, and restiveness of the youths? Why does it take too long for us to see?
But
talking about...
Shouldn't we acknowledge that at least one or two of them is undergoing prosecution?
One or two?
By the...
For instance, there have been
Commission?
2 past state governors from my state, Abia. Other states have experienced 3, some have experienced 4 in different cases. And you're talking about 1 or 2. We're talking about a group of people that needs to be invited for questioning and strictly dealt with to return these resources.
Mr. Bani, that's not the only region where the past leaders have misappropriated, as you said, misappropriated resources. And the youths are not being restive.
We are looking at Southeast now. And then if we want to look at the whole country, fine and good. Where in this country are there, do you have absolute calm? What we are just coming out of in the Northeast is an accumulation of leaders who have amassed wealth used him to feed and give handouts and formulate policies that were against the people. Amputate for stealing mobile phones. Or you see, we live in a society where a phone thief is lynched. You steal motorcycle, they set bonfire tires and burn you to death. Then somebody steals billions. We reward them with high political offices, including the Senate.
If I could bring forward the suggestion of Chief Wazirike about how he thinks that we should have a lot less concentration on the center and allow those states to become more viable, maybe in terms of economic viability as well. If that were the case, what kind of impact do you think it will have on this kind of agitations?
Positive impact. In fact, one of the disappointments I'm having with the present government at the center, the APC, is that a man I respect so much, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, have been an advocate of fiscal federalism, regional governments, regional autonomy. We've had this for over 20 years. A lot of people got to know Bola Tinubu when he became governor. There are some of us who have been following him from his days as a Nadeko activist. And now they are in power. Yes, 1 year, short time, but within 1 year, we should have seen, apart from promises, in between promises and the challenges, there should be hope. And that's what is lacking. These youths have no hopes. What has happened? One government comes up in Lagos State, enter Ladipo, demolish stores. Each shop in Ladipo houses about 5 to 8 traders. Each shop. So it's not like one man owns a shop and that's the end of it. He has close to 8, if not 10, people doing business who live from that one small shop. So you come in, you demolish one just overnight. What happens? They lose hope in the government. They will hate you. And then politicians or some people will let you know that, look, it's because you are from this part of the country. And you go home, hopeless. Do not forget that it is economic hardship, lack, that drove these people out of where they come from into migrating for greener pastures. So you demolish shops, render 2,000-3,000 people jobless, and they go home. What else are they expected to do, for God's sake?
Talk about the security, the handling of this kind of matter.
Like I said, it is flawed. Flawed in the sense that there is no adequate intelligence. Also, in our schools, we don't teach history. And you know the art of teaching and learning. The youths are supposed to learn history, to know that some of these things, experiences of the past wars. And then the teachers themselves will be challenged into research. So while government is not researching into history, we are not learning, being taught history. I want any history authority to tell me where in the wide world where you have used force to crush this kind of agitation.
What did
the issue, the appetite in ANC, we saw how it went. Each killing, as Biafrans are being killed, each burial was an opportunity, a launching pad to gather more sympathy, both within the oppressed blacks, the international community, for the blacks in South Africa. And they continued 100 years. This case of Biafra is a little less than 50 years or thereabout, which means if they sustain this, may not be in our own time,